I'm going to try my leprechaun joke again. Imagine yourself sitting in a pub in Dublin. In walks this man, and he pulls up to the bar stool, and the bartender says, "Top of the morning to you. How can I help you?" He says, "Pour me a pint of Guinness, bartender." "Thank you." Bartender slides the pint of Guinness down the bar to him. And as he's taking his first sip, he happens to notice across the bar there's a little wee person with all these beautiful women surrounding him, making faith over him, rubbing his head and his chest. And he kind of got a little look of disgust on his face. And the bartender says, "Yeah, I know it's quite disgusting, isn't it?" He says, "Well, such a waste on a wee person." He says, "Pour me another one, please." Bartender pours him another one, and he drinks that down. After a while, he had to go to the bathroom. So he asks the bartender, he says, "Bartender, where's your bathroom?" The bartender says, "It's down the hallway, first door on the right. Can't miss it." So he goes down there, and he opens the door, and he walks into the first stall. He's not there like a minute, and next thing you know, the wee person walks in, standing next to him. And he happens to look down, and his eyes got real big. The wee person looks up and says, "Top of the day to you." He says, "Well, top of the day to you too." He says, "I see you have quite a collection out there. Beautiful women. I've seen none prettier in Dublin." He says, "Well, thank you." He says, "Actually, I have more than I need." And he says, "Well, what's the secret to catching all those women?" And he says, "Well, you're looking at it." And the big guy says, "My, yes. Quite endowed you are." He says, "Well," he says, you can be just as endowed, if not more." And the big guy says, "Really?" He says, "How so?" He says, "Well, I'm a leprechaun. I can do anything." He says, "Okay, but what would it cost me?" He says, "Well," he scratched his head, "if you let me ride you, it'll be for free. It won't cost you a thing." And the big guy says, no, 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 no. I don't fuck leprechauns, and I don't have leprechauns fuck me. No, thank you. I'll be getting my own dates." And the little wee person says, "Well, suit yourself." And they both walk out to the bar together. He's sitting up at the bar, and this time there's more women. More beautiful, more voluptuous. He says to the bartender, he says, "This is utterly disgusting. I can't stand it any longer. Give me 2 Guinnesses and a Scotch chaser, please, quick." So they slide him down the bar, and he drank both of them quickly and followed it down with a Scotch chaser. He's beginning to feel pretty good. And then the runs came on him again, so he had to go back into the men's room and standing at the urinal there. And in walks the wee person. And he says, "I've been giving it some thought. I'm normally not that kind of guy. But I'm desperate, you see. I've been sitting up there fantasizing about all these women. I'll go ahead and do it. I'll let you ride me." Well, the wee person says, "Well, that's a good decision. Drop your drawers." So the big guy dropped his drawers, and the little guy dropped his, climbed on the back, and right up the old arse. He took off his hat, and he was leaning back, like you ride a horse, standing on his last 2 legs. Yahoo! Waving his hat up in the air, slapping him on the ass, driving him home. And the big guy says, "Would you mind hurrying up? This is embarrassing." The wee person says, "Excuse me." As he was giving the last thing across the finish line, he says, "How old might you be, laddie?" The big guy said, "Well, I'm 32. Why do you ask?" He says, "Aren't you a little old to be believing in leprechauns?"